So, breaking news, just wanted to inform you of what's happened. There's been a letter that has literally been released, which basically Donald Trump wrote to the Prime Minister of Norway, basically Jonas Gahr Store, in terms of the Nobel Peace Prize and the reason why they are attempting to seize Greenland. It's absolutely dramatic. It's unbelievable, the rhetoric. And the reason why he's doing this, pure spite, essentially. So let's get to it. So new POTUS letter to Jonas Gahr Store links Nobel Peace Prize to Greenland, reiterates threats, and is forwarded by the NSC staff to multiple European ambassadors in Washington. I obtained the text from multiple sources. So this is official information. This isn't AI. This is not a joke. This is actual letter that was sent to the Prime Minister of Norway. So he basically wrote, "Dear Ambassador," he basically said, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus," you know, Trump always loves to use the 8 wars plus, "I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant." So basically he's just saying he's not thinking about peace because he did not win the Peace Prize. Like, I don't understand. Like, there are so many other presidents, right, prime ministers all over the world, and because they didn't win the Peace Prize, does it then resort for them not thinking about peace? Clearly, like, I'm unsure what's just gone missing here. Something's loose. So although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. Now let's break this down. When they say Denmark cannot protect, the Greenland is part of NATO, right? United States is also part of NATO. United States is one of the largest funders of NATO with France, with Germany. So when they talk about protection, it doesn't make sense. Because if you talk about you cannot protect, that means clearly if Greenland can't be protected, that means America can't be protected, right? Because then it's an alliance there. It's part of NATO. So clearly doesn't make sense. And then he says, cannot protect from land from Russia or China. Why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, and we had boats landing there. Also, I have done more for NATO. So it's not about we as a country, it's about me as an individual. No, your country with more than 300 million people. You are representing your constituents. You are representing your country. So NATO, that any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT. So he's basically just saying, no reason why Greenland should exist as it is. We should basically take control. It's for our national security. We can say that, you can say exactly the same thing about Canada, right? And then if you're going to be able to just go, you're then committing a 25th Amendment, right? Where now in this situation, if this actually happens, then what then stops any other country from seizing another country and then basing it on national security? What prevents China from actually now taking over Taiwan, right? It's the same scenario. So we're getting to a point of this homogeneity that's evidently now it's basically being ruthless, purely just taking control and capture, which actually happened with Venezuela, where you're capturing a president. This is, all these steps are not bringing countries together and having stronger allies. You're actually now deterring members, and this is where these issues are arising from. And this is where US single market, a US as a coalition, are now not seeing America as an ally. There's fragments that's taking place purely because of decisions that you're making. You're part of NATO and you're making this erroneous decision to be able to go after Greenland. Now, because of this whole Nobel Peace Prize, the person who actually won it was Maria Corina Machado, right? She basically won the Nobel Peace Prize. And actually, because of what actually happened, she basically now, as a goodwill gesture, gave the medal to President Trump. Like, is this optics, or is this just for his feeling of being proud that he's received something? But this gesture tells you in itself where we are today, right? And a man ruling a country such as America is steeping to this level, tells me that we are in a sad state of situation right now today. So then we've heard that after this, we've heard that the EU basically, because of the repercussions now with President Trump basically hitting the EU with 10% tariffs, which will actually increase to 25% if they don't concede to their demand, to America's demands of taking control of Greenland. The EU now are pushing back and saying, no, we're not only are we deploying military to Greenland to protect the border, we are also preparing $100 billion in tariffs and other measures against the US, right? US companies in response to presidents. So this is taking everything absolutely going crazy now, right? Your allies now, you're going head to head with tariffs. And what probably everyone also expected was Keir Starmer, who's the Prime Minister of UK, part of the Labour Party. For him to come out, he came out with a speech this morning, and this is what he said.
Does not mean being passive. And partnership does not mean abandoning principle. That is why it's important to be clear about who we stand with, what we stand for, and where our interests lie. Now, this is a moment for the whole country to pull together. What I'm going to do now is to focus on our national interest and be absolutely clear that that requires us to be clear about the principles that we apply to a situation like this, in particular that the future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Denmark Kingdom, and that tariffs should not be used against allies in this way. In relation to the escalation, look, a tariff war is in nobody's interests, and we have not got to that stage, and my focus, therefore, is making sure we don't get to that stage. And
this is personally the worst thing in terms of a speech coming off the stance that Trump has put forward, for you now to have no backbone and literally to say we don't intend to impose any retaliatory efforts in terms of tariffs. Yes, we understand if you do impose this, it's going to obviously hurt UK citizens, right? Because it's clearly the UK individuals that are going to be paying for this at the end of the day, because it's then passed down from the businesses, increased in costs, then these goods and services. So UK citizens have to pay for it, or UK residents have to pay for this. But this speech doesn't show any strength for you to be committed to your allies, right? Part of NATO. This is just showing we understand what America has done, decisions that are made. They don't agree. But what he should be saying is, we cannot condone these measures, and we don't appreciate the rhetoric from Trump. And if it gets to a point where they push forward with these tariffs, we have to then look at also implementing. You have to be strong. You have to be firm. Not having any backbone doesn't get anywhere. I'm sorry. So this is the situation of where that stands now. So details are incoming. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but I wanted to keep you updated what's happening. The markets are set to open in about an hour and a half. Gold has been pumping higher, all-time highs. Silver's at all-time highs. Bitcoin has come off slightly, so we'll see how things actually react over the course of this day and next couple of days. If you like this information, please like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you.